Before I had my first custom rifle build, I would spend the majority of my free time flipping through gun magazines, forums, researching ballistic charts, comparing velocities and energy numbers so that when it came time to build something, I'd be well informed to make the right decision. Of course, when I was finally ready to make that decision and start building my own rifles, I'd saved up enough money and quickly identified a rather annoying problem. Everyone told me that I was doing it wrong. If I wanted anything to do with modern calibers, especially calibers that I thought were innovative, my only hope was to ignore the old timers telling me that 30-06 does everything that you need, and I'd have to just start building anyway. See, I became obsessed with firearms about the age of 13, started shooting 22 out in the country, shotguns, pheasant hunting, quail and dove. This was with my father, grandfather, uncles, cousins. Those were formative years, learning to respect the craft, understanding that every shot matters, and realizing that different situations just call for different tools. I swapped out those old gun magazines for online forums, YouTube channels, and ballistic calculators, and I started to learn that there was so much more to firearms than the cartridges that came from an era ago. There was innovation happening, engineering improvements, and there was a community of builders, tinkerers, who understood that sometimes, just sometimes, we can do things better than what we've done before. I mean, there were guys at the range, multiple guys at the range, shooting the same old 308s and 30-06, and I was the only one there with my 8.6 Blackout when barely anyone even knew what that cartridge was, or let alone seen one. Sometimes you fall into something because you're curious. New calibers, modern manufacturing, precision machining. Sometimes that becomes such a big part of you that even when people say you're wrong, you just keep building, keep testing, pushing boundaries, finding limits. And that's the reason I love modern calibers. But curiosity isn't the only reason. It's because they want to be optimized. Modern calibers are both easier and harder to build than traditional ones. I'd say traditional calibers are easier to find data for, but modern calibers, they're purpose built. There's less, this is how we've always done it. Take 8.6 Blackout, for example. If I wanted to build a traditional AR-15 in 5.56 or a 308 bolt gun, I could find components anywhere and the build would go straight forward because it's been done a million times. But there would be compromises, and honestly, that's just not optimized for what I want it to do. When I built my first 8.6 Blackout, like early on, I had less than 5,000 subscribers and I had to source everything carefully. I made a lot of mistakes. That was first run facts and barrels and specific twist rates with the right suppressor threadings and all those problems with DPMS high and low. But here's the thing, every component was chosen for a reason, every mistake was a part of the process, and ultimately it's optimized for what that cartridge was designed to do. And 8.6 Blackout changed my life, honestly. Those videos changed my channel. People saw something that they'd never seen before, working a rifle in a caliber that most people had only read about and most people had never even heard about. And it wasn't just the novelty, it was the performance, the subsonic capabilities that made traditional cartridges look outdated to me. Suppressors were new to me and it was different. And now building a traditional rifle caliber, you're working with established parameters. Building something modern, you're part of the development process. You're figuring out what works and what doesn't, and sometimes you're the first person to try a specific combination. But that's where it gets interesting to me. The modern calibers, they don't just perform differently, they make you think differently as well. And that's because they really have to prove themselves. One day I was at the range playing with my Howa Mini in 6 ARC. This was not that long ago. And it's another one of those new calibers that the traditionalists just love to hate. Older gentleman walks over, we get to talking about his gun and my gun, and by the end of the conversation it ends with, son, my 243 does everything that does and probably better. And I asked him what his 24-inch barrel with a 243 does at 1,000 yards, and he didn't really have a good answer for that. See, what I've learned is people think that new calibers are disrespectful to the old calibers, as if something new couldn't possibly be better. When a new caliber comes out, that's the first thing you hear is my whatever caliber does the same thing, or my whatever caliber does it better. But that's missing the point entirely. Every caliber has a job. And it may be a niche job, a small job, very specific, but there's no do-it-all caliber. My 8.6 Blackout isn't trying to replace a 30-06 for elk hunting, just the same as a 6 ARC isn't going to replace a 338 Lapua. They're all purpose-built tools for specific applications. And when you build a rifle around a modern caliber, you're not just assembling components, you're creating something with intention. Every choice matters. The barrel length isn't just what looks right or what you've seen before, it's something new, and it's optimized to take advantage of what that cartridge can do. The twist rate isn't a traditional twist rate. It's calculated for the specific bullets you want to shoot. That 1 in 3 twist was radical when we first heard about it. I've built rifles in traditional calibers and I respect them. I have no problem. I shoot them. I enjoy them. But there's just something different when you're building around a cartridge that was designed for modern manufacturing and powders, and with those modern bullets that are high BC in mind. It's really the difference between restoring a classic car and building a modern race car. Both have their place, but they're solving different problems and they exist for different reasons. For me, it's because they connect me to the craft. When you build a rifle around a new caliber, you can't just copy what's been done before. You have to understand the engineering and what all has been done to get to where you are. And you have to make choices. And sometimes you have to figure out what that new caliber can do. And maybe it isn't better. Maybe it's just different. I've had several builds that did not work out the way I expected. Load development that took too long, and combinations that seemed like they would work together. In reality, they just didn't. That's part of it. That's the craft. When we hand select every component, the action, the barrel, the trigger, the stock, that rifle becomes something more than just the sum of its parts. It becomes a reflection. It becomes a understanding of my priorities and my vision, and what the rifle could do and what the rifle should do. And most of you guys get it. I'm happy to be right here with you. You guys watching my channel, you're builders, and you're right there with me. You understand that sometimes you chase performance, sometimes you chase innovation, sometimes you're chasing just what's cool. But at the end of the day, we just want to figure out what's possible. I talk to you guys like a friend sitting here in the shop. You guys share my obsession with this craft in many ways. The details, the pushing of the limits, all while respecting the fundamentals that got us here. Modern calibers aren't trying to replace everything that came before. They're expanding on what's possible. 8.6 Blackout opened up subsonic performance in a way that traditional calibers just couldn't match. And 6 ARC brought long-range precision to shorter barrels. 6 ARC, 6 GT, even go back to 6.5 Creedmoor. They brought long-range precision to shorter barrels, and traditional cartridges just couldn't match that. When I built my first 8.6 Blackout, I wasn't disrespecting the 30-06 or the 308. I was exploring what was possible with modern case design, powders, modern manufacturing, high BC bullets. And here's the thing, that rifle that I built with my hands and chose every component, tested, failed, tested again, hundreds of rounds, thousands of rounds, that project has a soul. It has a connection to me that other rifles just could never have. Every time I shoot it, I'm reminded of the decisions that I made, the problems that we solved, the performance, and it's not just a tool, it's a testament to the craft and a pursuit of something better, something purposeful, something optimized. And that's why I love modern calibers. They don't ask us to accept what's been done before. They actually ask you to learn something new. They don't promise to do everything. They promise to do specific things and maybe do them better. And when you build around them and you choose those components with intention and you test and you refine, you're not just building a rifle, you're participating in the evolution of the craft. Sometimes the new caliber isn't better. Sometimes we come across something that changes things. That possibility, the potential, that's what keeps us building. And so that's why I love modern calibers. But I also want to hear from you. What are you building? Is there anything new? Are you exploring what's possible with some of the new calibers out there? 338 ARC is still gaining in popularity, and I'd love to hear, are you building an 8.6 Blackout? You got a 6 ARC on the table? This community that we've built, it's a journey. It's about sharing those discoveries and pushing each other to build something better. My email is always open, eaglerun23@protonmail.com, and you can always DM me over on Instagram. I'm EagleRun23. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.